We're here today in Cal State Long Beach's library to celebrate the grand opening of the Gerald M. Kline Innovation Space. The iSpace is a learning and service environment funded by Gerald M. Kline and student excellence fees, which provides support to CSULB students and CSULB faculty.
It's both great for faculty because it will allow them to offer more and different courses, different curriculum, different experiences for our students. So it will really, I think, enable their creativity. And then students will have access to this to work on teams between engineering and art and medicine. I mean, the possibilities are really endless for new collaborations, both for business prototyping, like maybe I can sell it, but also as was, there's medical applications, there's artistic applications, there's other science applications. So I think, when we're up and running at 100%, our students will have opportunities here that are not available anywhere else in California. What's new today may be old tomorrow, given the world that we're in. We should see today as first step, because who knows what we'll discover here and how we'll keep moving. But this will continue to be an innovation space. It may not have 3D printers in 10 years, but it will have the next wave of innovation.
Bottom line is that a lot of students previously may not have had access to this type of technology. We have a lot of non-traditional students, first-generation college students who come from school districts where they might not have been able to have access to this type of technology. So being able to come to an institution, one, pursue higher education, and two, have access to be able to use this type of technology will really enhance their personal and professional growth. So I think it's great for students and also for faculty because they'll be the ones teaching it to students.
So basically what a 3D printer is, it's a manufacturing machine. What it does, it takes in a 3D model. You can take a 3D model, convert it into G-code, and feed it into these machines. And what it will do, it'll take your 3D model and tell the nozzle where to go on the print bed and lay out plastic, creating layer by layer of your model. These specifically print out in nylon and reinforcing fibers, usually fiberglass or carbon fiber, while these other ones will print out in a variety of plastics like PETG, ABS, or some sort of resin.
Welcome to the library. I was going to introduce our student body president, Genesis Jara.
Thank you so much. I first off just want to thank Dean Kochan for inviting me here to speak and address this group, and thank you all for having me as well. Basically, I just want to say that express my gratitude and ASI's gratitude for the opening of this amazing innovation space. As a lot of you may know, this has something that has been in the works for a while now, and at the beginning of the summer, Lee, my vice president, and myself were given a tour by Dean Kochan at its very beginning stages, so we're so excited to see it in its full implementation. And a main source of this innovation space comes from the Student Excellence Fee Committee, and that's a committee that's primarily comprised of it's a student majority committee, and I was fortunate enough to sit on that board last year, and we basically were able to decide where to allocate a certain amount of funds to different programs that we know would benefit student success here on campus. So we were huge advocates for this innovation space, especially after touring it. So with that being said, this specific space goes under the Student Excellence Fee Part 2 fund, and that fund really is described as a fund with technology that directly touches students. And I think it's safe to say that this space will definitely contribute towards student success, and as we all know, investment in our students is an investment in our collective future. So thank you all once again for having me. Thank you.
Also want to thank Joe Nino, our past student body president, who was instrumental in helping us obtain some funds as well. Thank you, Joe. And today we celebrate Jerry Kline. Jerry, whose generous gift made the innovations possible. We will have a few more introductions later, but first I'd like to call on President Conoley to address you.
Well, thank you very much, Roman. It's a delight to be here and see this space with strong investment from students and really made possible by the generosity, the vision, and the commitment of Jerry Kline. So this is the innovation. We have the, what's our official name is the Gerald M. Kline Innovation Space. That sounds great. That really is going. And as Genesis has said, I know the students will love using the space, and I'm equally sure that their access to this space, the access of faculty and other staff and student development staff, access to this space will greatly add to students' creativity while they're here, give them new ideas, new things that maybe would not have even occurred to them. Also, I think that will be true for faculty. And certainly, this opportunity will add to their employability because we're surrounded by this across many fields. We certainly think of it often on the engineering side, but it's also true, I know, in art. I know it's true in science, and I think we'll be hearing from some people about that. So I am so delighted to see this as yet another example of our library really continually reinventing itself to better serve our students and our faculty. So, and I thank all library staff, Emeritus Dean and other staff, and certainly Roman for leading that. I understand that we have industrial grade, let me read this right, the wide range of industrial grade 3D printing equipment for plastic, composite, and metal parts, as well as laser cutting system and so much more. I can hardly wait because I don't have any idea what they look like. So this is going to be great for me to see that. So please enjoy the rest of this very celebratory program. Thank you, students. Thank you, Jerry, for moving us in this direction, allowing us to offer one more avenue for student success. And go Beach.
So who is Jerry Kline? Well, today he is a happily retired man catching up on life by traveling, enjoying his grandchildren, and even taking golf lessons, which he's trying to talk me into. But maybe it's never too late. He also is a philanthropist who supports worthy causes through the Gerald M. Kline Family Foundation, which he established. Jerry and I go back some 38 years when we met at this library when he was an entrepreneur marketing a product that interfaced something called OCLC with CSULB, which was like our circulation system. The process was manual, taking information from this OCLC product to the CSULB product. Jerry and his partner, who quit their day jobs at the UC Berkeley Library as techs, developed this black box just like the Wozniaks in their garage, and found a niche that libraries absolutely needed. That grew into a multi-million-dollar multinational company that Jerry was president of until his retirement not too long ago. We, in 1982, were a development partner for the acquisitions module, which was the book ordering model, and I, at that time, was in charge of book ordering, so Jerry and I started our relationship then. So we went from customer to friend over the years. And our library has benefited tremendously from adopting Jerry's system, which we had to leave last year because the CSU system went into a new system for the entire 23 campus libraries. Anyway, without Jerry's help, we would not have been able to prepare such a state-of-the-art facility. I'll just mention a couple of items that are in there. It blows my mind. One of the machines needs 400 volts, so we have a 400 volt outlet. And we have ventilation that goes to the 5th floor of the roof. So without Jerry's help, we would not have been able to create such a facility to house all that wonderful equipment that the students helped us, obtain.
Thank you, Roman, and it will just be a word or two because we have more important things than just to listen to me. So, but first of all, I want to thank thank you all for naming this space, and thank the Cal State Long Beach for naming this space for me. It's really quite an honor, and it's really my pleasure to be able to contribute to the services of Cal State University Long Beach. It's really quite a pleasure. I have many opportunities to do this, and I chose this one, this specific one, really more primarily because of the people involved here at the library. You know, it's a very special group led by Roman, and having worked with thousands, tens of thousands of libraries around the world, there's very few people like Roman who've been able to move along with the time willingly and really forcing the changes needed as the community, as a library community, as the services that a library needs to provide changes over time. And Roman is that main, the main engine in doing that. And knowing that, I know very little about this technology itself, right? I'm going to learn just like you guys. But all I needed to hear was Roman feeling that this was a very, very important thing, that it was very important for this campus to do this, and it was good enough for me because I trust him very, very much in these. So I was very willing to do this. So I want to thank Roman and the rest of the staff for putting this all together. It's really them. I was able to contribute as I can in this, but it's really the staff here that has done all the work, and they're the ones who should be congratulated. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you for your support and for your friendship. So where did the idea for this innovation space come from? As much as I would like to claim credit for it, I cannot. That was our excellent chair of our excellent design department who wrote a proposal several years ago for what he titled 3D Printing Lab Proposal in the Library, and dropped it on me over coffee in the library Starbucks. At that time, we had no space, we had no money, so it sat in my drawer for a couple of years. But then everything seemed to come together. ITS, Information Technology Services, decided wisely to consolidate all the servers on campus. This was a server room for the library. And they wisely decided to consolidate their servers and get them away from under the fountain in earthquake country. And ours went in there too. So this room became available. And then the student excellence fees came on the horizon. And it all started coming together. And I was, like Jerry mentioned, I was telling him about it, and he was skeptical. But he decided to take a chance on me. So it really was Martin who came up with the idea. So Martin, you want to take ownership?
Well, Roman gives me far too much credit because it's well known across campus that if you want anything done that's new or innovative, you come see Roman. He seems to be, truly, I'm not kidding. And he's helped us so many times in design. When we needed a new computer lab, for example, we had computers that were languishing. This was many years ago. And I think our previous chair mentioned it over coffee, Tim in passing, and he said, I can do something about that. And 2 days later, we had 2 new labs, brand new outfit computers in those labs. So he's been a tremendous friend to us, and I just appreciate so much his innovative spirit, his can-do attitude, and his support of all of the programs here by creating this amazing iSpace. What it means to us in design is that, we do a lot of 3D printing and prototyping and innovation, entrepreneurship, cross-departmental collaborations there. And we typically have to tell our students to outsource what they're printing. Well, now they no longer have to do that. They have a space central on campus through which they can exercise their entrepreneurial visions, intercollegiate, interdepartmental visions, and come here and prototype and print and innovate. So we're super excited about that. And it also addresses a really important trend that we talk a lot about in design and business and entrepreneurship, and that is the relocalization of production. It's very, very significant, and this is the only facility of its kind that I know of in the CSU that addresses that. So congratulations, and thank you, ASI, thank you, Mr. Kline, thank you, the university, library staff, and Roman.
And I was toying with the idea of hiring a consultant to help once we decided to do this. I mentioned it to one of my librarians, or specifically our engineering librarian, Hema Ramachandran. And she says, oh, I have a friend in engineering who knows everything there is to know about 3D printing. I said, really? Who is she? Her name is Chris Beyer. So I contacted Chris, or Herman arranged a coffee for us again at the library Starbucks. Do you see a pattern there? That was one of our better ideas, putting a coffee shop where we can have all these meetings. Anyway, the rest is history. Without Chris, we wouldn't be in this this place. She is the brains behind the operation, and I would like to call her to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Kochan, for the introduction. I'm supposed to say Kochan. I can't get used to it because I speak Russian. I'm an East German girl, and
She keeps trying to pronounce it in Ukrainian.
I can't get used to it. I try my best. So, ladies and gentlemen, President Conoley, CSULB community and alumni, representatives of the mayor's office and the government, representative from industry, machines and service providers, vendors, sponsors, friends and guests. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the grand opening. I feel honored, and my voice is still shaking a little bit, okay. I'm kind of nervous. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the grand opening. I feel honored to give you a few more details on the vision and the mission of the center, of the so-called innovation space or iSpace. I'm aware that I'm actually in between you and the lab, and you actually came here to see the lab, but you have to bear with me a little longer. And I think you can still hold on also. I know there's also food in the back. It looks really yummy. So I'm aware that, let me start again. He mentioned already the introduction with Starbucks. So 1.5 years ago, around about, Dean Kochan invited me to having a coffee at the Starbucks place at the first floor. And he wanted my input and feedback on an idea. And his idea was to establish a 3D printing lab. The one they know me, they know that I was immediately excited about the idea. I started working in the 3D printing world, or for the engineers among us, the additive manufacturing world, about 25 years ago in Germany. And I know that makes me look old, but it's true, it's reality, and I touched my first 3D printer actually 25 years ago as I finished my master in engineering and business studies. And this was in '94, and as a young researcher, I started after that to do my PhD in 3D scanning and rapid prototyping, what we call it at the time, a few years back. Our department was the first academic institution in Germany introducing 3D printing also in Germany. So now we are here 16 years later. 9 years ago, I moved from Germany to California. The plan was actually just to stay a year, but here we are. Nice California. So I started as a professor. I'm a professor in mechanical and aerospace engineering in the department or the College of Engineering. Since then, I put all my effort into implementing 3D printing philosophy in teaching and research, establish a lab, strengthen the collaboration with industry in the area of design and advanced manufacturing. When I learned about Dean Kochan's vision, or I should say Roman, that makes it easier, right? I'm not constantly go over that. As I learned about his vision to establish a centralized 3D printing center for the entire campus, I was really excited. I knew there's a much bigger request, as we heard actually from Martin as well. There's a much bigger request for printing models, parts, educational tools on campus than we could handle with our few printers in our lab. And this was in addition to my class. Other faculty and students came to me as well and asked me to print stuff with my limited capabilities. But also being an enthusiast for such a long time, I know what the possibilities is to have those printers and the capabilities with the technology. So I'm aware also that industry is looking for more employees that come with this knowledge. So I immediately saw the opportunity for Cal State Long Beach to play a role in the forefront in with establishing such a lab. This lab enables us to enhance the hands-on learning experience and provide unique expertise that increases the employability of the students, as our president already mentioned. After investigating the needs of the colleges and the department, we decided not to go with the examples of other universities. They just establish a lab with smaller printers and have 20 or even 70 printers of those. we decided to go really with diverse equipment with complementary capabilities. So for example, now we are hosting in our lab, and you will see it in a few minutes, we have a Stratasys printer J750, a high-end printer what can print multicolor and multi-materials. So we can combine, for example, rigid material with rubber-like material. And we can print, in addition, in color. So you will see examples of that. We have another Stratasys printer, F170, for high accuracy and robust plastic parts. We have a huge German wrapper printer, the X1000, for plastic models, and that's actually our Abby. We call her Abby. Abby is actually using the 400 volt to run, so that typical Germans, they always need to make a point. So actually with this huge printer, we can print till a meter. It's like 1000 millimeter by 800 by 600, or for the ones that still think in inches, 40 by 32 by 24. You will learn that the 3D printing world is in millimeter, and I'm very glad about it. But anyway, so you will also see some examples when we walk to the lab. Finally, you will see that here around the corner is a huge Chevy engine. And this Chevy engine is, as an example, we pretty much, with the first additive manufacturing course, what we had in spring in this year, we actually scanned this existing model, the existing Chevy, and we printed on a printer and model just to learn how to deal with that, to improve, and to teach the students what needs to happen. So we have also marked forge printers, and these marked forge printers allow us to print in carbon fiber material or plastic material with carbon fiber powder in it, and we can also lay out continuous string. You will see examples of fiberglass embedded, carbon fiber embedded strings, and so on. And we are very proud to have a laser cutter, because very often what I recognize when students come to me, they just want to have flat pieces. So for those cutting out pieces out of regular plastic sheets, it's much better to just have it run around and cut it with a laser. So we saw that's a good equipment what adds to this whole lab. And we're desperately waiting for our desktop metal printer. So we're still working on paperwork on everybody who's involved. There's a long process to get equipment approved and get it in here. It was already announced on the flyer because we were hoping to have it in. So not yet, but hopefully soon. And in addition, instead of communicating with all the students or everybody who wants to use it via email and attachments, everybody who's involved in that know what a hassle this is, we also invested in a powerful management system. And that is actually takes a lot of work on the forefront, that students and faculty, everybody who has an ID can pretty much log in, upload parts. They can actually orient it roughly on the platform and then get also a quote, because unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we have to charge also for the parts, or we made the decision to charge for the parts. But it's not comparable with outside vendors. We have heard that outside vendors in the past were actually asked to print parts for students, and who is involved in that? We don't want to damage the service companies around, but we also try to make it easier for the students. So we will not charge for any machine hours or for the staff that's actually working in the lab, but we have to, or we want to charge a little bit for the materials, and in this case also very subsidized. And what it in some cases also means is it's much more a what is it called? I have always struggled to say that, a non-nonsense fee, because if it's for free, everybody just presses a button even to think about it. So we try to limit that a little bit and try to train, especially also students, also to think it through and check their designs again. So what is now the importance of those technologies, and why Cal State Long Beach? The current trend of automation and data exchange in manufacturing is called Industry 4.0, commonly referred to as the fourth industrial revolution. We had the first industrial revolution with the introduction of the steam engine in the 18th century. We had the second industrial revolution took place in 1870s till 1914 with a period of industrial growth of steel, oil, and electricity industry. the development of the telephone and the light bulbs and so on. And then we had the third industrial revolution, also called the digital revolution, pretty much with the introduction of the personal computers and the internet and so on. So and now you are part of the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution. It includes the Internet of Things, cloud computing, fully autonomous vehicles, smart factories, and advanced manufacturing, such as additive manufacturing, 3D printing. Indeed, those additive manufacturing technologies are the future. By adding material layer by layer, we build parts, tools, and models different than we did in the past. And as you may know, hopefully everybody else knows a little bit about manufacturing. We have CNC machining where we have a block and we carve out material, or we actually melt material to put it in place. So here it's totally different. We can actually do so much more. We can build lighter. You will see here examples from grid structure and things like that. So with traditional technologies, we were not even able to build such a complexity of parts. We can combine materials, we can print whole assemblies, and we can embed hardware and electronics. But I stop now with all the engineering details. But you may have also heard that we, in the meantime, even print organs already. So kidneys, and we have heard about the first heart has been printed. So very interesting stuff, but everything around it will change in the future as well. We will not store so many parts anymore. We will more store the data, send them over wherever the request is, and just print on demand. And this will change the whole supply chain in the future. We have also, in the meantime, 3D printers in the International Space Station, for example. Instead of waiting for parts that are delivered, they can just print their spare parts or replacement parts. So 3D printing, as you may realize, it's a really hot topic, and we strongly believe that we are spot on with Cal State Long Beach with our lab. We can educate the new generation of students and the workforce in cutting-edge technology by implementing the technology in our programs. We can foster student projects such as the Innovation Challenge and other competition. We provide excellent supports to our faculty in teaching and research with the capabilities of the lab. We are planning to establish a certificate program with our industrial partners, and that's actually great because we are in the backyard from aerospace and bio and medical industry. So CSULB is right there, and we try to educate the new generation. And we want to develop also, and we heard this, we have a shortage on educators. We want to also put our effort in training instructors. So I see you are getting nervous because my speech is probably the longest. And you want to see the lab. But I need to tell you, you are probably disappointed to hear that we are not even done yet. You will see, oh, let us show the lab. No, we are not done yet, because that was just the first phase of our plans, and Roman is a great visionary. So that was just really the 3D printing lab. The next phase starts now, or we are already in the works. The next phase is to implement actually scanning technology, virtual reality, and augmented reality. That's a great topic also in industry, and we started already the discussion. Our Boeing folks, JPL folks, they are here. We started already the discussion on what kind of technology is needed, what kind of knowledge needs to have our students to actually be immediately employable for those companies. So the next phase is now already in the works, and as long as we're not running out of money, we keep going to implement actually new technology. Before I actually pass on the baton to Ted, I would like to express again also how pleased I am to be part of the iSpace. I want to thank everybody who supports us along the road, so many helpers and supporters behind the scenes. And I don't want to start to name people or even departments because I might forget someone. But we want you to know, we would not have been here and get it out without the help. In our team effort, we made it to the first milestone, and we will work on the next one by implementing these next second phase. And I will not just say go beach, I would also say go iSpace. So, and I would like to introduce now Dr. Ted Stankowich. He is Associate Professor from Biological Science Department, and he will give a short introduction in his project related to 3D printing as well. While Ted and I started a few years back, we worked together with senior design teams on building an autonomous vehicle, and that was a skunk model, what was actually rolling. And that was to scare coyotes. That was actually where we started, and he will talk about the whales today. And very interesting topic, so better get ready.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Ted Stankowich, and I am a professor in biology. I'm also the director of the CSULB Mammal Lab and the curator of mammals for our vertebrate collections over in biology. And I teach mammalogy every semester. It's a great course. The students we have a really big collection, about 10,000 specimens of mammals in our collection, which is really sizable for this size university. And we pride ourselves on having a really broad range of families. Almost every family is covered. But one of the struggles we have is with the large mammals. The largest mammals, the whales. We have lots of dolphins and porpoises, but really very little material from baleen whales, your humpbacks, your blue whales, your gray whales, the things we have here on the coast. We have a vertebrae, a rib here and there, but not much, mainly because it's really hard to get. There's marine mammal laws preventing us from having them, but also just the size of storage alone would be, out of the question. And so but this has been an issue, and colleagues of mine at other universities I saw were 3D printing bat skulls, little teeny tiny bat skulls, enlarging them to be big enough to see the structures and the teeth and everything, and to teach with them. I thought this was a brilliant idea. And I thought, well, what about going in the other direction? So I began to look around for scans of whale material, and I found a few online, and asked our college resources if they could print them out at smaller scales. And there were some issues with that, and so I thought, well, actually, I know the 3D printing expert on campus in engineering. Why don't I just ask her what she can do? And this was this was like three weeks ago, and she said, well, we just happen to be opening this innovation space in the library. Come talk to me. And literally last week we met. I gave her these files for a humpback whale that I found online. And over the weekend, this last weekend, she 3D printed a humpback whale skull. Now, the humpback whale is normally about 40 to 50 feet long and weighs 25 to 30 tons. This is obviously not that size. So this is about 1.5 feet long. Normally, the humpback whale skull would be about 12 feet long. So this is a very reduced size skull. It's not a Batman mask, don't worry. But the plan would be to once it's been printed on the large scale printer, to prime and paint so it looks like real bones. So there's some processing to do, but we wanted to show you what it looks like coming out of the printer here. And this is an awesome tool for us because our students can learn in class about the structure and function of these skulls without actually having to store giant skulls which are dusty and oily and would cost a lot of money to be brought in. So we're excited to work with your team to keep generating these skulls, maybe a few others to show the diversity of the whales. And maybe, and then talking about maybe some larger projects in the future with some full-size material. So there's really sky's the limit with this new facility, and I want to thank everyone and Chris especially for allowing us to, on such short notice, print this out and have it for our class for the semester. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the future with the iSpace.
I watched her printing that. Very interesting. So we're getting near the end, which I think we all want. In addition to thanking Jerry again and our students for all their help and helping make this a reality, I'd like to thank a number of people especially. And I want to say special thanks to Vice Provost Dushi Satyananthan and Assistant Vice President Marianne Hatta for their support and help. Our support folks in facilities management, Tony Pellegrino, the interim AVP, Paul Wingo, Mark Zakur, Travis Key, and Mary Jean Ayub, among others. Dennis Lepresto and his crack team of techs and academic technology services. Minnie Hours Information Technology Services, Pamela Jesse, Events Coordinator, and all the folks in parking. Would you believe all the parking we got? I cannot believe it. That's the first time in history. There must be a lot of angry people out there, but we're all happy down here. Also, Fernando Solorzano, our truly special Chief of Police and his officers. And of course, the Purchasing Office, which worked with us diligently to process all those purchase orders for this equipment. I also want to thank Efren Miranda, our library facilities manager, without whom I'm not sure we could accomplish much around here. He's unbelievable, and thank you, Efren, very much for your help. Also want to thank David Hedden for his help early in this project. And I want to thank you all. And in conclusion, I hope others will be inspired by your example, Jerry, and will seek other opportunities to help the library enrich its services students. Once we finish touring the Innovation Center, if any of you have time, take a look around the library and take a peek at our 5th floor, which is the favorite floor for our students. And it's the vision of that floor that we have for this floor. That's why everything is ripped up around here. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and now, welcome to the future.